Good evening and welcome to another Oblivion Play stream, and welcome back to Leeds-Bradford. So back into our old favourite, the 737-800 Zibo Mod, and this is Orbx's newly released Leeds-Bradford scenery. And we are hopping up to Edinburgh. We're not going up to Edinburgh at all. We're going up to Sumburgh, up in the Scottish Islands. Doesn't really, in real life, take the 737. The runway's a tad too short, but makes it a bit more challenging. I've tested it out. We can easily stop in time, yeah, no, we'll be absolutely fine. So let's jump into the cockpit and let's get set up. So, as per usual, first things first is to get the old battery on and put the cover over, and we'll get connected up to the ground power unit. Underground services, and once it's online we'll switch over. There we go. So we'll start off with our usual flows. So start from the top and work our way in a W pattern, starting with the overhead panel. So your damper needs to go on, but we can't put it on just yet until the APU is online. Get the fuel pumps online. Get the ground power is already on. We've got the battery online, standby power is online. Get the window heat on. Get it nice and warmed up. Want the window well heated in advance so that if we do strike a bird on takeoff, the windows are nice and flexible so they don't shatter. Pitos don't go on until we're pushing back, or after we've pushed back. Same with the electrical pumps. Electric hydraulics, and then switch on the emergency lights, get the seatbelt signs and chime on, and then we'll get our position light. So you switch it over to steady initially, to basically just let all the other aircraft know where we are, and then that button goes up to the strobe and steady once we're approaching the runway. What we will now do is just turn the APU bleed on and turn off the engines, so we don't have a kind of a dual bleed situation. Go to auto on the packs and on for the isolation switch. Make sure they recirc and left and right recircs are on, or on the auto setting. And then what we need to do is just input our flight altitude and our landing altitude for today. So they are. So our elevation, unsurprisingly, being a coastal and island airport, the elevation is 21 feet. I think it goes up in increments of 50. So we'll just leave it as 0. You want to round down essentially to the next lowest setting for your landing elevation. Flight altitude, I believe, was 360. Just double check. Yep, 360. There we go. And just make sure that the selector is in the auto position as well. Just in case, you never know what the last pilots did. Okay, let's move down. So we'll get our AVI tab up, and that will give us our altimeter at Leeds-Bradford. This is the AVI tab. I think actually we can just use it in the electronic flight bag. So go to the airport, just refresh it using the refresh icon. Make sure that the weather ATIS is up to date. Another way you can do this is if you go to the ACARS and then get an ATIS request, and you can do that through the FMC, so I'll just do that for you now. So Echo Golf November Mike for Leeds-Bradford, and then you click the send button, and then that simulates getting a radio ACARS message with the ATIS for your airport that you request, which is quite handy. And then basically that should match up with the AVI tab, which it does. So weather's not too bad. It was raining, but now it's settled. Only a 3-knot wind. Scattered clouds. Temperature of 12 degrees. It's starting to chill up in the UK now in September, getting into autumn. And then the QNH is 1004, so we can put that in. And then I've set it so that it should synchronise. Yep, so it synchronises with the first officer side. Wonderful. We can adjust this one as well. That's the backup. flight display, and then we can return to the menu. So we'll start the alignment for the IRSs. So pause in it, and we'll put in Echo Golf November Mike. Oh, sorry, I always get these muddled up. There we go. I'll put in the gate. It doesn't usually give us any coordinates for the gate, but we'll just see if it does. Which gate are we in? 8. I think we're 7, aren't we? Yeah. So we'll put in 7, see if it populates it for us. Doesn't look like it. There we go. So that'll be the IRS lining. The FMC handily auto-populates our scratch pad so that we can just click straight in for the origin. And then the code for Sumburgh is EGPB. Runway today, I've confirmed with Flight Radar, is runway 32 at Leeds-Bradford, and then as usual we'll just put a placeholder flight number in there. Apple is the airline code I use for my virtual airline on SimBuddy, which if you check out some of my earlier streams I've been using. I'll get back into using that soon. Okay, so let's go back actually and just put in our weights and things. So we will populate that first, and then we'll enter all the info into the FMC. So payload today is 18.2 roughly. We'll have to fine tune that to make sure the zero fuel weight matches my plan. So we're looking for 61.2, so we'll go another 1.7, so that's 19.9. My mental arithmetic is right. No, as usual it's not. 19.8. There we go, 61.2. Excellent. Fuel today. Fuel we're using is 6.1 tons, and I'm getting all this info from PFPX and my flight plan. So yeah, 6.1, and that should give us a takeoff weight of 67.2 on the plan, but 67.3 on there, which is fine. So we've kind of rounded up a little bit, so not a problem there at all. So let's put that into the FMC. So zero fuel weight was 61.2 tons, and the reserves today are 1.1 tons. It tends to be in the Zibo. I don't know if that actually ever changes. Cost index 20. I've noticed PFPX I don't think actually gives you a cost index unless I've missed it, whereas I believe SimBrief does. So I'm contemplating switching over to SimBrief. Yeah, no, I can't see one. So yeah, well, I think I might just check that out. I know a lot of people do use it and it's free, so why not? It just means I don't have to pay for another subscription to the internet service for PFPX next year. Okay, so 360 was our cruise altitude. Our cruise wind today is 266 at 071, so quite windy up there. And I suspect that will probably slow us down a little bit as well from the wind direction. Top of cruise, outside air temperature is minus 52 degrees Celsius. And then the transition altitude at Leeds is... I don't think it's on this chart. Let me just double check. No, so we'll go to one of the approach charts because they always have the transition altitude on them. It is 5,000, so that is correct. So we'll execute that, and then N1 limit will go down to, it's a reasonably short runway at Leeds-Bradford. So what we'll do is first of all we'll put in the temperature, which is 12 degrees C, and we'll go to takeoff D rate 1 and climb D rate 2, and then go over to takeoff page. Flaps 5 will be fine. Centre of gravity for takeoff is 24.1. Trim will be 4.9, which we can put in now, and it's not far off it anyway. And then we'll put in our speeds. So quite fast today. Departure for us today is the Nels 3 Whiskey. And then after that we're going UN 601 to TLA. UL 613. Sorry if this is the boring bit, but we'll get through it. Not too long a flight today, so this shouldn't take too long. To Findo. The flight planners say we should go down to 350, just because I guess we're changing from a westerly direction to an easterly direction, just with the altitude separation that you get with airways, and whether you're going east or west. But we'll probably just ignore that. Once we start going east, we're so kind of far north that there won't be any traffic around us anyway, and we're not using any form of ATC today, so that'll be fine. Then to ADN, and then Sumburgh, direct to SUM. So it's that one, top one. What we might do is we might just cut straight to the approach rather than going to Sumburgh, because otherwise we've got to do like a teardrop pattern approach. So, arrival. The wind today is quite awkward at Sumburgh. It's blowing, I think it was 040. So basically that means we can't use the ILS 27 at Sumburgh, so we'll have to use the RNAV if it's available. Yeah, RNAV on 09. PFPX trying to get me on the 06, which is actually a helicopter runway, so obviously I ignore that. That is one of the downsides of PFPX. It's not very smart on which runways it picks. So what we'll do is go onto the legs page, get rid of that discontinuity. I'll just see what that looks like. We'll activate it, and then we'll go onto the plan page, and we'll just work out what that looks like in the approach. Because, like I said, we might just skip out the Sumburgh VOR. Oh, I've gone past it. Just one sec. Right, yeah. What we'll do is we'll skip out the Sumburgh, because otherwise we're kind of going back on ourselves. So let me just do that. Let's have a look. That should be better. Yeah, that's wonderful. So it's kind of a straight-in approach. Great. Okay. So I believe that's it for our FMC programming. We will go to 149 on our IAS. We will just, because we're not using SimBuddy, we can just get some background sounds. I always forget to do this with that when I'm not using SimBuddy. That's loud. Let me just see if I can turn that volume down a bit. I don't know what it comes under. It's not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Another page. Oh, I don't know. We'll have to put up with it. Okay. So altitude, like I said, was 360. I think that's us done. I'll start going through the checklist now. So preliminary checklist, so yeah, batteries are on, we're on the GPU. IRS are aligned now. Voice recorder is fine, flight deck access is fine, emergency equipment is fine. So we'll just, rather than me reading them all out, we'll just go through. I am reading them. CDU, yeah, that's fine. Let's go to the captain. Lights, yeah. I remembered one that we need to do. It's the auto brake to reject takeoff. That's reminded me. That's all good. So captain's is done, and then first officer. That's all looking good. Done all this already, except for the light test, which we won't do. So auto brake is set to reject takeoff, which we've just done. And we're already on the engine display. That's great. Okay, so go to the before start checklist. We'll close the door. There we go, that's made it much quieter. And then the flight door's locked. CDU display is set. N1 bugs, yep. Fantastic. So, before start takeoff is complete, so we are good to push back. Let's get all the doors closed and get rid of our ground equipment. Shame they don't integrate the jar design widget, but yeah, it's not the best anyway. Wish they had GSX for X-Plane. Okie dokie, so let's get rid of our service crew and let's start the flight leg. And let's get pushback. So ground services, better pushback, and request pushback.
Ground to cockpit, tow is driving up.
So transponder will leave on standby, parking brake we'll be told to remove with better pushback, and hydraulic pumps will turn on once we push back. So we're good to go. So we'll just wait for the command to release the parking brake and start the engines, and then we're good to go. Here he comes, magically through the building. We'll get our beacon on, or the anti-collision light as it's called in the Boeing series of aircraft. As our air bridge leaves. It's weird, when we flew into Leeds from Amsterdam, the autogate didn't seem to work, but it does work when you park up here.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect.
Lovely airport scenery, top notch as per usual from Orbx. Ain't cheap, but it does look good. Links are in the description below if you're interested. And up we go onto the pushback truck. So we'll be going
So connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Okay, so release the parking brake and packs need to go off.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
And starting engine number 2. Helps when you start the APU. And that's what happens when you skip through all the checklist without concentrating. Anyway, we'll get the APU online and then they'll start the engines after that. And that alarm is there, plane saying, "What the hell are you doing? You didn't turn the APU on." So good AGT rise on the APU, and it'll settle down in a second, then we'll be able to switch over to the APU gen. And then we can start the engines. Second time lucky. we go. Right, let's go. What have I not done?
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Have I bugged it? Everything's set right, isn't it? APU bleed is on. Let's try again. Ah, there we go. Just didn't give it long enough to get going. So looking for 25% on the N2, and then we'll introduce fuel. So that's starter cutter. That's a good start on engine number 2. Let's start engine number 1. Let's introduce the fuel. Just watching that EGT rise, make sure we don't get a hot start. That's looking lovely. Starter cutout. So let's go back to the overhead panel, turn the yaw damper on, let's turn the pitot heats on, let's turn the electric hydraulic pumps are on, and turn the APU bleed off, put the packs to auto, put the isolation switch to auto as well, and then just run through the checklist. So that's all fine, we've done that already. So let's go to before start checklist. Did we switch over the lead inside? Let's switch over the gens, did we? Switch over the gens, and we've done the probe heat, wing anti-ice we don't need, engine anti-ice we don't need, packs to auto, isolation to auto, APU bleed is off, engine starts to continuous. Engine start levers are idle, ground equipment is clear, takeoff flaps to 5. We'll do the flight control check, so switch over to system on the lower DU. That's full left, full right, full up, full down, full left on the rudder, full right on the rudder, and neutral. So then we can switch off the lower DU. So flaps are 5, set to 5 and indicating 5, so that's good. Oops, wrong one. Okay, so let's get the taxi light on. And so our taxi procedure is going this way, taking a left, taking a right, and then runway 30 is over there. Okay, so just put the parking brake on because I'm being distracted with the engine starts. The guy hasn't disconnected, so we'll just wait for him to disconnect and then we'll be good to go. We've got Dash 8 over there and another Jet 2 737. Traffic today is from World Traffic. And as usual, xEnviro is doing our weather.
Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
So we're almost good to taxi. Off he goes. Sorry for that. You can probably hear the noise in the background being picked up by my microphone. There seems to be fireworks going off nearby. Okay, we've got the thumbs up. We'll just turn off the APU and then we'll head off. Take this right. And then left. For those of you who didn't watch my last stream, Leeds is perched on top of a hill, so it's pretty dramatic scenery around, and it'll make quite an interesting departure. So we'll take the next right and then taxi up to 30. Actually, yeah, we'll just get Avitab up just so you can see where we're going. So we're kind of going up that way, and then just backtrack up 14, turn around and then take off for 3-2. So we'll get our strobes on because this is the threshold, or the hold short rather, and we'll take the TCAS onto TA as it starts to rain. So departure's runway's verified, strobe lights are on, TARA, and then we'll do the rest of the lights when we're lined up. But weirdly, there just seems to be like another hold short there, so no idea. Doesn't matter. So clear left, and looks like we're clear right. Nothing on the TCAS. So making a left turn. Fantastic texturing from Orbx there. Does look really nice when you're coming into land. It looks that good on at Sumburgh as well, so you'll see that. So I'll take the left here. And just slow down. And we'll make that right turn. It's really starting to rain now. Looks like we're taking off into the abyss. A fantastic sloping runway here. So landing lights on. The only thing is that the landing lights don't seem to be quite aligned with the runway, which is a bit weird. Within like the centre line lights. Okay, so we are good to go. We'll introduce about 40% N1, make sure everything's nice and synchronous. It's looking good. And then we'll go Toga. Taking off from a ski jump.
400.
Just take the gear to off. Get the engine start switches to auto. Take off the taxi light. And making that left. We'll hand fly for a little bit, why not? Pilot Azal, hi! Welcome to the stream. Nice to see a new face. Good to break through these clouds. So we'll go flaps 1. Get the auto brake to off. And then flaps up. And then we'll hit the autopilot. And I'll just do the rest of the checklists. Which brakes off, landing gears off. Excellent. And the rest of the stuff we'll do as we approach 10,000. So we break through the clouds. And hopefully the rain will stop. None of that upwards rain. A little bit bumpy, and we'll get the wipers off. So approaching transition, so we'll switch over to standard, and look at that, can't beat volumetric clouds. I've noticed that there does seem to be a bit of a bug with this kind of like water effect, where it just stays on the windscreen. The only way you can seem to get rid of it is by turning the effect off and on. I'll just give it a chance to disappear by itself, but we might just have to reset that on the setting. Alright, so we are at altitude restriction. Let's just see how long this goes on for. To now, sir. No, let's switch over to level change. We'll skip this bit. So a little trick, if you get to an altitude restriction, which you either don't want to do, or if you're on ATC and they clear you above, you can just hit the level change and that will just override the VNAV essentially. And then what you can always do is when you go past the altitude restriction, is just switch onto the VNAV, which is what I do. Yeah, it looks like that's windscreen effect's a bit bugged out, so we'll just turn it off and then reset it. It's not nice being below bad weather, but when you're flying above it, it does look pretty cool. So we are flying up, approaching 10,000 feet. So lights off. And we'll just do the checklist. I'm sure I've missed something. Spatial science will just let us settle down a little bit more, probably around about 15,000 feet, so we'll do that in a second. Standard already, cross-check, I know it's cross-checked because we've got them synchronized, and everything else is absolutely fine. So once we've finished this right turn, we'll release the passengers. I'm very well, thank you, Pilot Azal. How are you? Can't beat flying on a Saturday evening. Okay, we'll turn off the seatbelt signs. I cannot wait for Flight Sim 2020, because if it's anything like what the screenshots look like, it's going to be incredible. Because I mean, X-Plane looks pretty damn good, but FS 2020 is looking like a whole different ball game. You're fine, well done, good. What are you up to this evening? Right, we'll just put the range right up, just so we've got an indication of how far we are along the journey. And we will actually not do that, because I keep forgetting Avitab is integrated into the Zibo Mod, so we can just have a little quick peek where we are. We've flown up already, in the sense of going fast, and we're approaching Lancaster and then shortly over the lakes, so just amazing how fast you go when you're flying. So as you can see, relatively short cruise today. What's that? Probably 80 nautical miles of cruise. We go into the progress page, we get an idea of how long it's going to take. So we're 12:46. I'm not flying in real time, in case you're wondering. About the time. So 12:47 Zulu. If we go over to the clock, so about an hour, and then we'll be at Sumburgh. That's going to get a lot faster when we're in the cruise as we speed up. Got a bit of a headwind, which is slowing us down. Just as a note, the kind of the indicator up here for our arrival time will be very out, just because it basically takes it as the crow flies route, which obviously we're not doing, so we're following the airways. You watched my 757 video, excellent. Which was that, the Quality Wings one? Which flight was that? Got to bear in mind, I did these videos about 3 years ago when I was still using FSX and P3D. Since then, I've switched over to X-Plane, so I don't actually use Fly P3D anymore. This is X-Plane. But I'm sure I'll soon be switching back to Microsoft products with the release of, like I said, release of Flight Sim 2020, because it does look really good. Some I got TrueEarth. It's probably starting to affect the stream a little bit, but it's not my internet, it's the CPU having to run everything. Release the passengers, didn't I? Okay, I think we've done everything on the climb checklist, just make absolutely sure. Yep. So we're good to go until the descent. Sumburgh's another Orbx scenery, excellent product. I had it, actually, it's been out for a little while. I had it for P3D. Looks, yeah, really nice. Although they've, for some reason, they've got basically at the end of one of the runways a guy looking in the field with like, I think he's got a camera or some binoculars or something. But it just looks like he's perving on sheep. So I'll definitely have to show you guys that. It's really weird. And then if we have enough time later on, what I'll do is I'll do something a little bit different. Be a bit of a surprise at the end of the stream. From Azerbaijan, awesome. It's nice to hear that, you know, people all around the world that are watching. I bet the weather's a hell of a lot nicer in Azerbaijan than it is in the UK. Although it looks like the weather's not too bad in the sim, I can assure you it's not nice. It's been raining really heavily today. It's not too long till top of cruise. We're going over Shap, which is where basically where the start of the Lake District, so I'll show you on the map. Actually we can go outside and you can see beautiful TrueEarth scenery. That's the M6 below us. And interestingly, I think it's around about here, there's a wood in the shape of a heart, and local legend goes that it's a forest that was planted by two kind of feuding farm families. I don't know how true this is, but apparently there was a classic Romeo and Juliet situation where there was a son from one family, a daughter from another family who used to sneak off and meet each other, and they fell in love, and then they had a little meeting spot where this forest is, and one day one of the angry family members caught their son leaving and decided, I think it was either they tried to shoot the son or they tried to shoot the daughter, and then ended up killing one of them. So the two families decided to plant this forest in the shape of a heart. But like I said, it could be completely made up, but I've heard it from a few people, so clearly there is some kind of legend behind it. So, another 6,000 feet to go. And hopefully make up a bit of time. Beautiful Lake District over our port side. Some weird artifacts. X-enviro, the volumetric clouds aren't perfect, so they're still working on them. They're trying to optimise them. As you notice, I don't know how easy it is to see it. It's a bit more obvious because I've got like a big monitor, so some of the artifacts are a bit more obvious, but you kind of get like a bit of a hazy effect around some of the clouds, which unfortunately is kind of a consequence of using volumetric clouds in X-Plane. but you know, they might be able to improve it a little bit. There is a PA system which I kind of forget to use. We'll use it when we level off, and then we can try and remember to use it for the other little bits and pieces. I never seem to. Oh no, I know xEnviro simulates it, but I never seem to get turbulence other than when we're going through clouds. Oof, yeah, we've got a hell of a wind, 90 knots cross/headwind, so yeah, that's going to be slowing us down a little bit. It's about just under, well, 37-ish, slowing us down by about 37 knots, so quite significant. Frames have just dropped a little bit. Just see what we're at. 50. Yeah, it's quite low. Hopefully, as we head up north, that will speed up a little bit. As we basically put the TrueEarth scenery behind us. And there's a lot of detail around here with the Lake District and then as we go into the borders as well. Shame that the weather radars in the add-on aircraft don't really work with xEnviro. I can't even remember where does the Zibo model the weather radar. There's usually a little control panel. I just need to remind myself where that is in the. Yeah, it's here. Everything's on, so I'm assuming it probably isn't then. Just angle it. Is there a way to angle it down? I can't see.
1,000 to go.
I don't think the weather radar works. Pretty sure the terrain radar does. Yeah, terrain radar works. It's just I think the weather radar doesn't work. So, approaching cruise. And like I said, it's not really that long a cruise, only about it's about 160 nautical miles to top of descent, and then we'll head on down to Sumburgh. And there we go. No, we're not. We're not in the welcome one. You can barely hear it anyway. Yeah, no idea what you were saying, but it's hopefully something about leveling off anyway. Borders that we're approaching down there. So, gone a fair way already. There's Leeds. That's where we are, and we are going here. So let's just check fuel prediction. 2.6, yeah, loads. So we're way above the minimums that we need for arrival at Sumburgh. Didn't realise you could do that. It's quite funny. You can change the lighting for the passengers. I'll tell you what, this aircraft, or this mod rather, is all about attention to detail. Get the purpose of that. Why do you need little weird handles? Got one on the other side as well. So someone's doing leaning out the window, I don't know. That is a Google question. Why does the 737 have a handle? Ah, right, it's to do with getting in and out of the seat. That actually makes quite a lot of sense. Apparently it's also quite useful for the captain whilst the first officer is flying, is just to keep their hand off the yoke. I guess it's just a little bit too tempting otherwise to take control. Let's see if we've got any updates about the rotate MD-11, because that aircraft is just looking so nice. Oop, no, that's page 1. If you go on their forum, there's 42 pages of people very excited for this aircraft. There's actually quite an interesting conversation around some of the quirks of the MD-11, where it just, like, for example, they're talking about the autopilot not working particularly well. I guess, you know, it's an old aircraft, so the processing speed of the autopilot's pretty slow, so it can just take a little while to kind of pick up what the pilot flying is trying to do. And some people are saying if they actually simulate that, then people are going to start complaining that the aircraft doesn't work, which is actually quite a fair point. But it's just funny how that, you know, the downside of simulating things 100% is you will have the problems and quirks of the aircraft, and then people will just think that that's not, you know, the actual simulator's not working properly. Let's have a look at something else. I wanted to see whether there's any updates about the BAE 146 by Just Flight. Go onto their Facebook page. That's another really nice looking add-on that's coming out to Just Flight. You've got on the Facebook page, they're pretty good at updating things. No, just all about this VFR scenery that they're releasing for, I'm assuming it's P3D. Nothing about the BAE 146 just yet. PMDG is also, I was just going to keep an eye out for, they were going to make some kind of big announcement on, which they said on their Facebook page. I'm just going to have a little look, see if there's any update yet. They've left us on a cliffhanger. No, still no update. What did he say again? But they've been incredibly busy. But there's something that they're going to be announcing soon, and if you go on their forum page, it's the same. They're basically saying something big's about to be released, but they're not going to say anything too soon. They like to hype it all up. Hopefully, they're doing another plane for X-Plane, which would be quite a nice addition, because I think they released that Warbird aircraft for X-Plane, which didn't really interest me. But hopefully they'll introduce their 747, because I think X-Plane's sorely needing a decent 747. So the one that exists is really outdated and doesn't work very nice. Same for the 777. But yeah, the aircraft I'm most looking forward to is the Rotate MD-11 and the Just Flight BAE 146. I initially thought, when reading the Just Flight comments, I initially thought they were going to actually just porting their P3D version over to X-Plane, but if you actually look in a lot more detail, they're actually updating their P3D version as well. It looks like they're going to introduce an FMC, which would be quite cool. But I don't know if they're going to simulate the RJ series as well, because they had like a auto throttle system as well, which is a little bit more advanced than the old 146. Once they've done the 146, they might consider updating. It's not a huge, not a huge amount of work for them to update. Just a little bit extra on the systems and a little extra on the cockpit model. Because the Quality Wings one was really cool for P3D, but it just didn't quite have that study sim feel to it. It was still quite basic. Let's go over to PMDG, their forums, because sometimes they do release news first on their forum rather than their Facebook page. Oh no, I want to go to the Avison one. This one, yeah, okay. No, it's still that mystery post, which didn't really say very much. It was something about pastry, that cream filling. You know that cream filling inside the pastry, light, airy, sweet, completely void of any substance at all. Yes, this is the announcement, which basically this is an announcement for an announcement that they're going to be making. They're working on something, and then they're going to tell us more about it at a time, and then not much else. Classic. Announcing an announcement. But that's the frustrating thing about simulation, is you spend most of your time waiting for the next new product release. It'll be interesting to see how Flight Sim 2020 works with their new kind of like procedurally generated scenery, and how good their airports are. We might even have to have payware airport scenery. Be quite an interesting turn of events. What is that over there? Some kind of weird artifact. Let's see where we are. We've been going for a fair old time. About 45 minutes, I think, now. So Edinburgh is just off our starboard side. Let's have a look, see if we can see it. Ooh, quite a bit of vertigo then. That's a good sign. Right, so I think that's Edinburgh there. Yep. Actually no, maybe not, that's probably Berwick. I think Edinburgh's going to be, Edinburgh's directly below us, so we just probably get a better view if we're outside. the airport there? No, airport's there. So directly over Edinburgh Airport. And that's the city of Edinburgh over there. Cool stuff. So I think that's yeah, UK 2000 Edinburgh that I've got, the airport scenery, which it's a little bit dated now. Hopefully they'll go back and update that and just make it a little bit better for you know, basically make it as good as their newer products that they've been releasing. I did used to, you know, really like UK 2000 because although the scenery always wasn't that detailed, it's usually quite basic, but it was very reasonably priced. And in P3D, where a lot of the British kind of smaller airports weren't particularly detailed, it was quite nice. You know, basically you just got the FSX D4 airport, which were usually quite bad. Whereas UK 2000, you know, just brought it up to a reasonable level, a reasonable price. Thanks very much for the likes, guys. Do appreciate it. Like I said, it does just help get my videos out there. So I do appreciate it. I don't know why the Zibo keeps making that like kind of bonging noise. It sounds a bit like the noise you get when the cabin crew are trying to get your attention back. Unlike in the 767, I can't see any way of interacting with them unless you click this. No. Oh, maybe that's it. Yes, but I don't know how I'll tell you to. Any ideas? No idea how you interact with the with the flight crew.
Go ahead and start service.
Is there a button? So that start service goes in the ground. It's not there. So I was right. That is them trying to talk. You like to interact with them, and yes. Let's find out with Mr. Google. 737 interacting with cabin crew. Can't see anything. Just see search cabin crew rather than interacting. That might help. If anyone watching knows, do let me know in the comments or the chat. See if Reddit usually helps. Do you have to press it twice? No? Unless it, oh, is it auto? And the chimes. Yes? I don't know how. Chime them twice. It's probably a manual that I just haven't read, and that'll I'd like to tell you. Let's just see if it might actually well be in the explain folders. Let's look. Aircraft, Zibo. Can't see anything like manual in there. Zibo Mod manual, I'm sure there'll be one. so there aren't any operator manuals, I think, on the Zibo drive. Yeah, that's not really that helpful. Zibo cabin crew service. Aha, I think I found it. That's a nice view. So, actually, I know a little bit about this part of the world because I used to go to university near here. So, this is Lucas Air Base in Dundee. So I went to university at St Andrews, which is just there, and that's like the St Andrews beach where all the golf courses are, just where my mouse is. And then Lucas Air Base is just there. So they used to have one of the RAF Tornado forces there, but it's now switched over to Typhoons. So we used to have the Tornadoes going out over the North Sea to do some exercises, which was really cool, watching them take off and stuff. And then, like I said, that's Dundee just there. Really nice part of the world. Recommend you go up and visit. Go and play golf if you play golf, whatever. So there's a thread about that thing, but it doesn't actually tell you what to do. There's not like there wasn't an announcement, is there? But it says they can start. No. Just see if that does it. Just bonged me again. All the buttons are in op, so no idea. Not too long till hit top of descent, so got Aberdeen VOR up ahead. How are our friends doing? Still at 15. Like I said, hopefully when we leave the UK behind us, well, Scotland obviously is part of the UK, as are the Scottish Isles, as we leave the mainland of Scotland and things, then hopefully it will get better. No, can't find anything. Oh, actually, someone else has put it in Reddit. Let's have a look. Yeah, looks like other people have the same problem. See if she says it again. Yeah. Oh well. I've tried everything. I think it's just probably something that they haven't completed yet. Right, we'll just take the range on the map down a little bit. Not too long. Just over 80 nautical miles to top of descent. And once we get to Aberdeen, ADN, VOR, we'll start doing our kind of descent preparations and get ready to go down. And then, like I said, we'll once we've landed at Sumburgh, we'll do the usual, run through all the replays, check out the landing, and then I've got something special lined up for after that, assuming we've still got the time. Bit of fun, which I used to do on the streams when I was on Twitch on FSX. And I'll leave it as a surprise. But the clue is it involves some low level flying. Yeah, x-enviro is not looking great here. I've noticed there seems to be like one of the major problems with it is that you start getting like grid lines almost as it generates the clouds, and it also sometimes it kind of like has incomplete tiles where you suddenly get like a square shape of blank sky. So I'm pretty sure ADN is Aberdeen anyway. It kind of makes sense. Heading straight there, so yeah, no, I do vaguely remember it when you're approaching into Aberdeen Airport, you go via ADN. That's like their start of their teardrop pattern for joining the ILS. Ooh, excuse me. So actually we've gone from having quite a strong headwind to a bit of a tailwind now, so that's helped us along. Let's have a little look for our ETA now, 12:57. So we're looking at around about 40 minutes till we're at Sumburgh. But like I said, almost at the top of the descent, so things will start getting interesting as we go past the Aberdeen VOR and head on down. God, the frames are just so bad with TrueEarth. It's like, I don't know if it's X-Plane just being really badly optimised or whether it's TrueEarth, but it's fairly ridiculous that I've got like a decent CPU, 4790K, running at 4.5 gigahertz with a Titan Pascal graphics card, and now I'm getting 15 frames in 1080p. It's pretty ridiculous. So the final approach is just starting to come into our map display. So I think, was it after? Yeah, it was after ADN that we're basically going straight to the start of the VNav. So I'll show you guys how the VNav works. It's pretty simple, and it's pretty much like using the LNav function, but instead of using like a radio beacon, it just uses you know, the navigational system to work out where it's going. So you just click the approach button essentially as you're on that final fix, and then it just takes you down. So there we go, making our left turn. Just go into the checklist. The landing altitude, like I said, we've put to 0 because the actual landing altitude at Sumburgh is 20 feet. So we round that down so that the doors can be opened. So that's verified. System annunciator is looking absolutely fine, nothing indicating. And then we can go to our FMC and get our speed. So go to inner RAF. Definitely be doing a flaps 40 because, like I said, we're actually too big for the runway at Sumburgh. We'll do a flaps 2 on the flaps 2. We'll do a 2 on the water brake as well. So, you know, like I said, we decelerate nice and quickly. So that's entered on the VRAF. Let's have a little look at our minimums at Sumburgh. So we can get rid of the Leeds charts. We'll go over to Sumburgh, which is, I think it's Echo Golf Papa Bravo, isn't it? Yeah, Echo Golf Papa Bravo. So we can have a look at the weather. So just refresh it. So winds are 040 still at 8 knots. They were at 10 knots, so the wind settled down a little bit. Temperature's 11 degrees. And then we'll go over to our approach page, and then we're doing the RNAV 09, which is basically just straight in from TISEV, which we've programmed. And we can use the LPV and the decision height. We'll probably, yeah, I'm assuming 737 is a Category C aircraft, so we'll go for a decision height of 320 feet. It's relatively high, but that's just reflecting the fact that a RNAV approach isn't as accurate as an ILS. So there's 320. But it would have been a 610 if we were just using the RNAV. Cool, so yeah, so that's all set up. I was just having a little read about LPV versus LNAV approaches, and basically just the LPV, unsurprisingly, as reflected with the decision heights, more accurate than now LNAV approach. And interestingly, even though like an LPV approach is pretty much as accurate as an ILS, it's still not considered a precision approach in the US. Anyway, where was I? Descent. So we've done the radio minimums. Don't need a navigation radio because we're doing a RNAV approach. Auto brake we set to 2, so that's that checklist complete. So we are not doing a flaps 15 landing, we're doing a flaps 40 landing, so we don't need to inhibit the ground proximity warning system, and then the rest we'll do as we get close to 10,000 feet. As we leave the mainland behind. See if we're starting to get any improvement yet. Yay, finally our FPS is starting to creep up. Hopefully it'll be a hell of a lot better when we're actually at Sumburgh. So we'll put in our final descent altitude. What we're doing, which was 2,100 feet. And that allows us just to follow down the VNAV path. Oh, we never actually clicked the VNAV. No wonder we're going so slow. But we were slowing, we were saving on a hell of a lot of fuel, that's for sure. No wonder we had so much left over on our progress page. We're only going Mach 66, and I don't know what 278 is, but it's probably like 78 or something. So yeah, made quite a few mistakes on this flight. Oh well. Must be tired or something. Just taken the scenic route, the scenic leisurely route tonight. And we'll just go back down to 40 nautical miles on the map display. So we've almost hit top of descent, and then we'll be heading on down. And down we go. So now we're actually going at the right speed. It's going a hell of a lot quicker. Right, let me just make sure so everything was basically up until the approach checklist. So once we hit about 20,000 feet, we'll get the passenger signs on, and then the rest will work out as we get a little bit lower. Just to see what the transition altitude is at Sumburgh, 6,000 feet, so relatively high. Ooh, something got really light in here. Don't know why xEnviro does that every now and again. It seems like the sun gets the kind of the right angle and then suddenly it gets really bright. Nothing but sea. So, what's the actual name of the island that Sumburgh's on? I always get them all mixed up. What does it say on there? That schnook. Let's have a look. It takes forever to load on Avitab. Nope. So, go on, Google Maps. That's probably the quicker and easier way to find out. Shetland. Yeah, I thought it was Shetland. Just didn't want to say it. Just because that's the only island that anyone ever seems to know. So it's right at the bottom of the island of Shetland. So basically, the first bit of land that we hit will be the airport. Just under 80 nautical miles now till we get to Sumburgh. Get the passenger signs on now. The sun's chilled out a bit more now. So I'll set the altimeter a little bit closer down to when we, closer to 6,000 feet. I don't think you can actually program the LRMP. Because if you click nav status, it doesn't actually let you click over. I'm just assuming it's not modelled yet. Not programmed yet, anyway. So we've got the landing lights on now. And that's the approach procedure complete. So we will. Oh, what did we miss? Oh yeah, altimeter. What does it need to do? So we'll just leave that up until we've done the altimeter section. Yeah, the frames are creeping back up now. There's an island. Is that an island? Yeah, an island straight ahead. That's not Shetland. I'm not sure which one that is. Whatever that is. Let's have a look. God, it takes forever to load, doesn't it? And we'll go down to 40 nautical miles. I didn't realise you could like override the auto throttle and the armed position. It's interesting. Good to know. Tiny little island. I wonder if that's an airport there. As we decel as we're approaching 10,000 feet. And Shetland is looming into view over there, so not long now. And back down we go. So for those of you who don't know, there's a little green kind of arc on the map display is basically where the VNav is calculating will actually hit our planned altitude of 2,100. So it will obviously try and get us there at TSAV. So we'll switch over to the altimeter now, so where the airport altimeter was, once I've switched back, 1001. And that completes the approach checklist. No, we're not doing ILS, we're doing LNAV. the little like icons have appeared, similar to an ILS approach, works in the same way. And what we can do is just arm the approach. As we're on our final heading. And what I'll do is remember whether it automatically goes down. No, I think it goes automatically down to the the flaps up speed. So once it does that, we'll go down to flaps 5 as we're approaching the final bits and bobs, final couple of miles before we hit the virtual localizer. So there's the airport. Oh no, it's not accelerating yet. It was just engines are just taking a little while to catch up with where we are. And down we go. So there's the V-cell now, down to the up position, so we'll go flaps 1. And then flaps 2, and flaps 5. So there we go, so we're on the RNAV approach. Very imposing cliffs as we line up to the runway.
$2,500.
So the missed approach, let's just get the missed approach altitude. Oh, where am I going now? Is 3,000, so we'll put that in. And we'll go gear down, flaps 15. As we decelerate. Go flaps 30. Sorry, flaps 25. Now flaps 30. and then flaps full. And we'll go down to our
1,000.
approach speed.
1,000 feet, stabilized, Mr. Birch altitude set.
We'll go 145. So gear down, 3 green, and we'll just need to set the engines to continuous. And let's take manual control. And take the auto throttle.
500. Approaching minimums. 400. Minimums. 300.
I accidentally disconnected my microphone when I was on final approach, which isn't great, which means you lost the sound as well. But anyway, we're back in now. So that was a bit of a hairy landing. Like I said, very short runway. Don't actually take 737s at Sumburgh. So let's clean up. Get the retractable landing lights up, turn off the runway turn-offs, and you need to backtrack quite far up the runway actually. Get the engine starts to auto, get the AP1 line. Get the APU bleeds on. And then we take this next left. Get onto the APU bus. And then turn off the engine bleeds. If I hadn't have knocked my microphone off, I would have been able to complete the landing checklist, and then I would have missed the fact that speed brake wasn't armed. Okay, so auto brake's off, speed brake levers down, probe heats we can turn off. They're here. Exterior lights we can now turn off completely. Engine starts auto, weather radar's off, flat leaders are up, transponder we can switch to standby. So it's not wanting to do that for some reason. Let me just see if I can just switch it. There we go. Don't know why the scroll wheel wasn't working there. Okay, so we will take the next left after this flyby, try and squish in on the 737. Try not to clip our wing. So what we'll do is once I've parked up, we'll shut down and I'll switch over to do some replays, and then like I said, what we'll do is we'll do a little surprise at the end, which we should have time to do, which is going to be, we're going to go fly from West Wales, go up to the Mach Loop in the Typhoon, and yeah, fly the Mach Loop, which is quite fun. So we'll just come around a little bit further. There we go, that's better. Okay, so parking brake on, and then engines off, and seatbelt signs off. We'll turn off the anti-collision light, and the window heats, and the yaw damper, and then the fuel pumps, and the IRSs, and then the isolation switch will go to on. And let's have a look. Welcome to Sumburgh in the Shutdown hours. Like I said, 737 doesn't actually fly up here, but very challenging landing, as we found out, even though you guys didn't get any sound. So let's do some replays, and then, like I said, we'll do something a bit different at the end. I'll actually do a replay in the cockpit, just so you guys actually could get the experience of the landing with the sound, because obviously you guys didn't actually hear that, which was my fault.
2,500. 1,000.
Tell you what we do. We'll kind of do it like the GoPro.
Altitude set.
There we go, GoPro view. Going to do quickly is just take this to FPS target of 30 because it's affecting our level of detail, and then just rewind a little bit.
2,500. 400. 300. 200. 100. 50, 40, 30, 10.
Bit of a firm landing, but we needed to get down. It's a very short runway. Let's go for a different view. Very squirmy and very far over to the left. Not my best. Despite the spoilers weren't armed, it still worked. Oh yeah, classic. Orbx, the tower view doesn't work. So we'll call it there. What I'll do is, like I said, we'll have a short, very, very, very short break. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Where I will just set up the next flight, which is, like I say, going to be the flight where we're going to do the Mach loop. But if you have liked the video, do click that little like button at the bottom, and do subscribe if you want to see more. And if you want to be notified when I'm streaming, you can either click the little bell icon, which means YouTube will notify you when I'm streaming, or you can like my Facebook page. The link is in the chat or in my description below. But otherwise, just bear with me for 5 minutes. We'll set up at one of the Welsh airports, and then I'll fly the Mach loop just for about 15-20 minutes. Just hope for those you guys who are interested. Okay, so just bear with me. I'll be back in a second. Okay, welcome back. So we are in a freeway Eurofighter Typhoon. I forget the name of it, but I think it's like if you Google X-Plane 11 freeware Typhoon, it's basically the first thing that comes up. So just need to remind myself how it all works. It's not the most detailed thing, but we just work it all out. So that's engine 1 on. Let's start the other one. We can switch the bleeder to both. Don't even know if there's any flaps on this thing. No, it doesn't seem to be. And then switch off the APU. Or not. There they go. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. It's a very basic aircraft. Would just be good enough to get us up to the Mach loop and get the release parking brakes. Let's get going. Woohoo! Don't know if that's the wind. I don't think I think it's supposed to be for X-Plane 10. So the for some reason the missiles and bombs and things don't seem to be well lined up. So we'll take the afterburner and we'll head straight up to the beginning of the Mach loop. Basically just follow the coast all the way up until you get to the start of the Snowdon National Park, and then I'll show you basically where the entry point is and then the route, and yeah, we'll just have a bit of fun. The trim works at least, that's something. Woohoo! Look really nice with the Orbx TrueEarth, the Mach loop. I don't know whether they've added any particular detail to it, but it's pretty cool. So going transonic. Cloudy when we get to the Mach loop, so that'll make it quite challenging. Just climb over this cloud. It's just infinite cloud, so we'll actually go underneath it. God, how low is this cloud?
Sync rate,
there we go.
sync rate. Landing gear, landing gear.
You're going to get a lot lot of these alarms just to warn you in advance.
Landing gear, landing gear, landing gear, landing gear, landing gear, landing gear, landing gear.
So basically, if you follow, so that was Aberporth, West Wales Airport. So if you go north and follow up the coast, eventually you'll get to this part, which is basically like what they kind of call the Lake District of Wales, as the tail end of the Snowdon National Park kind of foothills. So you follow this round as it juts out. You go to the point, the furthest most point, and then follow it round the corner around the bay. Excuse me. And then I'll show you the exact point where you go inland. I'm sure these residents won't be particularly pleased about a supersonic jet going past them. So, like I said, you go around this corner. And most of the routes for the map loop, you're actually following a main road, which I'll show you as we go. Not the best weather for it. So once you go around the corner, you follow basically this kind of valley in. And the river estuary. Or do you? Hang on. There's a bit which I always get confused. I just need the map. Yeah, no, it is this one. Yeah, no, sorry. I just sometimes get confused between the two entry points. Okay, so you're kind of following the left-hand side of the valley, and then looking on the right-hand side for the entry point, which is quite distinct. Right turn here. So that's the oh, don't go above the cloud. There's a bit straight ahead, which is basically the end of the loop. So we're taking a right turn here, and we're following this main road that we can just see coming up now. So we're going to be going about 500 knots into the entrance of the Mach loop, and then you just basically follow this valley in. So this main road basically follow most of the way. So we go over and into the loop. Whoa, that was blustery there. And then we hug the right hand side of this valley, and then we go in. To the left, and then we're following these valleys in. Take a right and hug over this hill, and then you can go left and right. I think they do that in the Hawk, but in the Typhoon, because it's too fast, they basically just cut over this hill, and then we follow this valley out into kind of the river valley, which is coming up now. So slowly start turning left over the river, and then we'll rejoin it in a second. So you just keep going left, 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 and then as you hit the river again and the main road, you follow that up the valley. Again, just kind of maintaining about 500 knots speed as we keep following the river. back into the mountains. So in a second we'll switch from following the river and onto the main road, which is on our right hand side now. And then we follow this main road on the left. The turn there. Actually, we did want to take that one that was just behind me. There's no worry. What we'll do is we'll just switch over this mountain here, and then we'll rejoin back at the start. I do occasionally forget about that turn. It's because there's quite a few bits which look similar. So the bit that we were supposed to take comes out just to our left here. So we'll do that on the second run. We'll come back out that way. So we're back where we started now. So that's the point where we should have come out, which was the main road. So we'll go back in and then we'll do it the correct way. So go nice and fast in here. They absolutely bomb it down this valley. And then over. Hug the right hand side of the valley. And then left into this valley. Quite a few museums and some air shows, they have like the Hawk trainer video, and I'm pretty sure it's that one that they go down the Mach loop, so you can kind of see what it's like in an actual aircraft. So again, we'll take the left here and then pop over this hill. And then pop out on the left. And then we're going left, catching up with that river, which is just going off to on our left hand side. So you can really bomb it down this bit because it's nice and flat. So joined up back up with the river. Yeah, I can't imagine it's a particularly nice valley to live down. You got, well, I guess it depends whether you like it aircraft or not, but I imagine it's pretty damn loud. So carry on following up the river. We don't take the left hand side here, we carry on right round the valley, and then this time I'll show you the correct way. So main road on the right, switching over to main road on the left. Looking at this big hill on our to our front left, like at 11 o'clock, so we're going left here. So into this valley, and again we're just following the main road up this valley. That's on the left. As it goes up the valley, up this mountain, and then as we take a right turn down here, I imagine it's quite a shock if you're driving down this road and then suddenly a jet comes zooming over you. And then we take the left. And that's it. That's the Mach loop. So we'll go in this time and then we'll pop out the alternate exit and then we'll fly back to West Wales and wrap it up. In fact, we'll probably just cut it short at the end of this valley. So nose over and straight down the valley this time. And we'll absolutely bomb it with the afterburners. Go transonic. pop out, and that's the sea. So basically, this is the kind of river estuary or opening that we saw when we were heading up. And then that's it. End of the Mach loop. So I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I hope you guys liked the little surprise ending. We'll wrap it up there. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks very much.